Part 1. The Invisible Surrender. Stop calling it patience. Stop calling it kindness. What you are doing in your relationships, in your office, and in your social circles is not restraint. It is not maturity. It is not being the bigger person. It is begging through behavior. Most people never recognize it because it doesn't look desperate on the surface. It looks reasonable. It looks accommodating. It looks like holding it together. But power does not respond to appearances. Power is a biological sensor. It responds to signals. And the signal you are broadcasting, with every unreturned favor and every swallowed insult, is a scream of need. In the high-stakes game of human hierarchy, there is a fundamental law that most people ignore to their own peril. The moment need becomes visible, leverage collapses. Think about the last time you explained yourself to someone who didn't ask. Think about the last time you rearranged your entire Saturday to accommodate someone who wouldn't give you 10 minutes of their Tuesday. You told yourself you were being flexible. You told yourself you were being a good friend. Machiavelli would look at you and see a victim. He would see someone who has already lost the war because they gave away the only thing that matters: the uncertainty of their presence. The human mind does not reward vulnerability in competitive environments. It exploits it. We like to pretend we live in a civilized world of altruism. But beneath the suits and the social media profiles, we are still governed by the ancient cold logic of the predator and the prey. When you make yourself endlessly available, you are not being kind. You are removing the cost of entry to your life. And in economics, as in psychology, anything with a zero-cost entry is eventually treated like trash. This is the silent erosion. It doesn't weaken you slowly. It exposes you immediately. The second desperation leaks into your actions. The second you check in for the third time because they haven't replied, every advantage you had evaporates. Not gradually, instantly. There is no grace period. Today, we are dismantling the architecture of the nice guy and the people pleaser. We are replacing it with a defensive structure of Machiavellian cold-bloodedness. Not to become a villain, but to become impenetrable. Part 2. The Machiavellian Lens. Power as Perception. 5 centuries ago, Niccolò Machiavelli wrote a manual for the survival of the state. But the state is not just a government. Your life is a state. Your reputation is a territory. Your time is a resource. Machiavelli warned against liberalitas, the urge to be overly generous. Not because he lacked empathy. He wasn't a monster. He was a realist. He understood that power is not about force. It is about perception. Power is the ability to remain unreadable. It is the ability to create hesitation in others. When people are unsure where they stand with you, they move carefully. They treat you with a baseline of respect because they don't know the limit of your tolerance. But when you explain yourself, you give them the map to your boundaries. You show them exactly where the fence is, and more importantly, you show them that the fence is made of paper. You defend positions that never require defense. You seek validation from people who should be seeking yours. You treat your time as if it were an infinite commodity, when scarcity is the only thing that creates value in this universe. Power calls this exposure. Think of a diamond. Its value isn't based on its utility. You can't eat it. You can't build a house with it. It is valuable because it is hard to find and harder to get. Now imagine if diamonds were as common as gravel. You would walk over them without a second thought. By being the understanding friend who always waits, the loyal employee who never says no, and the patient partner who accepts crumbs, You have turned yourself into gravel. You are everywhere. You are easy to find. You are easy to step on. This is not about becoming cruel. It is about understanding that emotional transparency in the wrong hands is a weapon. Most people are not malicious, but almost everyone is opportunistic. If you leave your vault door open, you shouldn't be surprised when people start walking out with your gold. Opportunism doesn't require evil intent. It only requires access. Part 3. The 10 Principles of Defensive Architecture. To stop begging, you must rebuild your psychological walls. These 10 principles are your blueprint. They are not motivational quotes. They are the cold, hard mechanics of human interaction. Principle 1. Begging as a strategic exposure. Begging is rarely verbal. It lives in your operational habits. It's in your calendar. It's in the read receipts on your phone. It's in the way you tolerate things from a family member that you would never tolerate from a stranger. When you give energy and attention without requiring reciprocity, you are negotiating from a kneeling position. Human psychology responds to 3 forces: scarcity, uncertainty, and cost. If you are always available, you have no scarcity. If you are endlessly understanding, you have no uncertainty. If you are infinitely accommodating, you have no cost. You have become predictable. And predictable people are not respected. They are managed. They are leaned on until they break, and then they are replaced. Principle 2. Cut access before it becomes entitlement. Familiarity does not build respect. It breeds contempt. Strangers are careful with you because they don't know your breaking point. But familiar people, the ones closest to you, know exactly how much they can take without a consequence. Every time you restore access to someone who disrespected you without a clear change in their behavior, you are training them to do it again. You are telling them, my respect is a suggestion, not a requirement. Stop announcing your boundaries. I'm not going to talk to you if you speak to me like that. Is a plea for them to change. Instead, just stop talking. Silence returns uncertainty to the dynamic. Let them wonder if they've gone too far. Uncertainty is the only thing that restores respect. Principle 3. Identify the entitlement shift. Every relationship has a tipping point. It's the moment a request turns into an expectation. Can you help me with this? Becomes, why haven't you finished this yet? The moment the tone changes from gratitude to pressure, you must withdraw. Do not argue. Do not explain why you're busy. When someone's reaction to your unavailability is irritation rather than patience, they no longer value you. They value the utility you provide. They don't love the chef. They love the meal. Principle 4. Refusing guilt as a control mechanism. Guilt is the weapon of the weak. I thought you cared, or after everything I've done, are not arguments. They are emotional coercion. If you reverse a decision because someone made you feel bad, you have just handed them the remote control to your life. You have shown them exactly which button to press to get what they want. A Machiavellian mind sees guilt as a bluff. Call it. A simple refusal followed by silence is the only antidote. Anyone who threatens the relationship because you set a boundary was never a partner. They were an extractor. Principle 5. Eliminating the justice once breach. Structures don't collapse because of a massive explosion. They collapse because of microfractures. Just this once, I let it slide. Just this once, I'll do the extra work. There is no just this once. There is only the first precedent. Once you allow an exception, the other person knows your rules are negotiable. Consistency is the only thing that removes the hope of manipulation. And hope is the engine that every manipulator runs on. Kill their hope of changing your mind. Principle 6. Operating cold-blooded, not cruel. Being cold-blooded means being disciplined. You still feel the anger, the hurt, or the love, but you do not allow those feelings to sit in the driver's seat. Cruelty is seeking to cause pain. Cold-bloodedness is refusing to let someone else's pain dictate your actions. You provide structure to those who haven't earned emotional access. You are a fortress, warm on the inside for the few who have the key, but stone cold on the outside for the world at large. Principle 7. Silence has containment. Most people talk because they are uncomfortable with the void. They explain themselves because they want to clear the air. But explanations give people leverage. They give people hooks to hang their arguments on. When you are disrespected, silence is your greatest weapon. It forces the other person to sit with their own behavior. It forces them to fill the gap. Usually, they will either self-correct out of fear or escalate out of ego. Either way, they have exposed their hand. You remain a mystery. Principle 8. Enforce consequences, not conditions. A warning is an invitation to debate. A consequence is a fact. Don't say, if you do that again, I'm leaving. That's a threat, and threats are for people who lack real power. Just leave. Don't say, I need you to respect my time. Just stop showing up when they are late. Structure enforces itself when it is applied without a speech. Principle 9. Converting disrespect into intelligence. When someone treats you poorly, stop asking why. Stop looking for the childhood trauma that made them this way. It doesn't matter. Disrespect is information. It is a data point. It tells you exactly how much that person values you in that moment. Use that intelligence to adjust their level of access. This isn't revenge, it's accuracy. You are simply updating your map of the world based on new terrain. Principle 10. Living structurally. Cold-blooded access to you must be re-earned continuously. It is not a lifetime membership. Apologies are words. They are cheap. They are easy to manufacture. Only changed behavior is a valid currency. If someone breaks your trust and you forgive them without a period of restricted access, you have given them permission to do it again. Peace is a strategic asset. Protect it with standards that never waver. Part 4. The psychology of the predator and the prey. Why is this so hard? Why do we feel the urge to beg through our behavior? It's rooted in our evolutionary past. In a tribe, being cast out meant death. We are hardwired to want to be liked. We are terrified of friction. But we no longer live in tribes of 50 people. We live in a globalized, hyper-competitive landscape where the agreeable are swallowed whole by the assertive. The nice guy syndrome, or what we call behavioral begging, is actually a form of covert manipulation. You are being nice because you are trying to purchase safety. You are trying to buy love with favors. You are trying to negotiate respect with kindness. But respect cannot be negotiated. It can only be commanded. When you behave as if you are less than, the human brain, which is a master at pattern recognition, categorizes you as less than. It's an unconscious process. If you treat your own time as worthless, others will not magically decide it's valuable. They will agree with you. They will adopt your own internal valuation of yourself. This is the contrast principle. If you are always helpful, your help is the baseline. It's the floor. it isn't noticed, it isn't appreciated. It is only noticed when it's gone, and then it is met with anger. But if you are selectively helpful, if you are a person of high standards and limited access, then your help is seen as a gift. It is the ceiling. Which one do you want to be? The floor that everyone walks on, or the ceiling that everyone looks up to? Part 5. The cost of the bigger person. We need to have an honest conversation about the phrase, being the bigger person. Usually when someone tells you to be the bigger person, they are asking you to endure injustice so they don't have to deal with the friction of a conflict. It is a social gaslighting technique used to keep the peace at the expense of your dignity. The bigger person is often just the person who has been trained to take the most hits. In the Machiavellian framework, being the bigger person is a strategic choice, not a moral obligation. You are only the bigger person if it serves your long-term goals. If being the bigger person means you are allowing someone to habitually disrespect you, you aren't big. You're a target. True maturity is not the absence of conflict. True maturity is the ability to handle conflict with surgical precision. It is the ability to say no without a tremor in your voice. It is the ability to walk away from a table where respect is no longer being served, and never looking back to see who followed you. Part 6. Reclaiming the fortress. So, how do you start? How do you flip the switch from begging to impermeable? It starts with the great withdrawal. You don't need to make a post about it. You don't need to tell your friends you've changed. In fact, telling people you are changing is just another form of begging for their approval of your new self. Just do it. Step 1. Audit your availability. Look at your phone. Look at your recent calls and your texts. Who are you chasing? Who are you checking in on? Stop. Let the silence grow. If the relationship dies in that silence, it was already dead. You were just the one performing CPR on a corpse. Step 2. Stop explaining. The next time you can't do something, say, "I can't make it." Do not add, "because my car is in the shop and my mom is visiting and I'm really tired." The moment you provide a reason, you give them a chance to solve your reason. "Oh, I can pick you up. Your mom can come too." Now you are trapped. When you give no reason, there is nothing to argue with. "I can't make it" is a complete sentence. Step 3. Require reciprocity. This is the cost of access. If you do a favor, wait. Do not do a second favor until the first has been matched. This isn't being petty. It's being a professional in the business of your own life. You are measuring the buy-in of the other person. If they aren't willing to buy in, why are you invested? Step 4. Embrace the cold-blooded assessment. Look at the people in your life not through the lens of how long you've known them, but through the lens of what they bring to your state. Do they bring peace? Do they bring growth? Do they bring loyalty? Or do they just bring noise and need? Machiavelli noted that a prince should always be wary of those who are too useful. They are often the ones waiting for the first sign of weakness to take the crown. Part 7. The final transformation. When you stop begging, the world will react. At first, there will be resistance. The people who benefited from your kindness, your begging, will be the most vocal. They will call you cold. They will say you've changed. They will try to use guilt to pull you back into the basement. This is the crabs in a bucket mentality. When one crab tries to climb out, the others pull it back down so they don't have to face the reality of their own imprisonment. But if you hold the line, if you stay consistent with your new structure, something miraculous happens. The parasites will drop off. They can't feed on someone who has no need for them. And in their place, a new kind of person will appear. High-value individuals. People who also operate with structure. People who respect boundaries because they have them too. You will find that you no longer have to demand respect. Respect becomes the cost of access to your presence. Power is not about dominating others. That's a low-level ambition. True power is impermeability. It is the state of being so centered, so disciplined, and so strategically aware that no one can move your needle without your permission. You are no longer a leaf in the wind, hoping for the kindness of the breeze. You are the mountain. The wind may blow, the rain may fall, but the mountain does not move. The mountain does not explain itself. The mountain does not beg the clouds to stay. It just is. Stop begging. Withdraw the energy. Let the silence do the work. The game has changed because you have stopped showing your cards. Now let them wonder what you're holding. Let them wonder if you're even playing anymore. And remember, the moment you stop needing their validation is the moment you become their master. If you are ready to stop the silent suicide of your own potential, if you are ready to kill the beggar inside you, type this in the comments right now. I stop begging. Let it be a contract with yourself. Subscribe to the channel if you want to master the dark architecture of the mind. We are just getting started. There are 9 more principles to explore. The world is a calculation. It's time you started doing the math.